afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast Lehr with me, your host, Imperial Dane. Today's topic, how to conduct an armoured assault with a bit of combined arms on the side. You might ask yourself, well, what are the big sort of important elements to those? Well, initially, a nice set of tanks. Like, you don't just really conduct an armoured assault with a single tank. 2 is sort of the decent minimum. You only sort of want like 3 tanks if you want to pull off an armoured assault on your opponent. If you only got 1 tank, using the tank to support an infantry assault, in which case the rules slightly different as how to do it, though you can still apply a lot of the basics of it. But overall, tanks, of course, component there, the armoured assault infantry support the armoured assault as well, because once the armoured assault goes off, your opponent will be turning all their attention to the tanks, at which point you can use infantry in many cases, just move and sweep up all the bits that are sort of, pointing at the tanks. That usually means your infantry can do a lot of damage without taking too much in sort of, return. Also very important in most cases is smoke, because depending on how the map layout is, you won't be able to pull off any sort of neat flanks, in which case you want to be attacking head on, in which case you apply smoke. Obviously for this regard, the Americans do have a rather natural advantage there with the smoke, and the Orbital Commander Vests on the other hand are rather disadvantaged because they have very little next to no smoke. So they do have a much higher sort of challenge there, and obviously that might require a more specific video as to how to pull off an armoured assault with those chaps. But overall here with the Americans, you sort of have some more natural basics, because the Sherman is just naturally equipped with smoke screens for thusly covering up the assault. And of course any sort of other support you can raster, of course, is good. Also air reconnaissance, any other reconnaissance, just to have an idea how the opponent is positioned with his anti-tank weapons, infantry, and whatever target you are, also important. And thusly it also comes to one of the bigger bits, which is you have to determine where do you actually want to strike specifically, as to something you want to destroy, In a sense, also, you want to sort of figure out, well, where's the sort of center of your opponent's defenses, because in these cases, you're actually trying to destroy it, and that way sort of disperse the entire thing. In this case, for example, it's the Schwerpunted Quarters of the Pack for the feet that's sort of the center of my opponent's defenses. If I sort of crash that, the whole thing falls apart. So obviously, again, a lot of smoke's going to be required there, and in that sense, also having a good idea is actually planning out where you want to drop the smoke, for example, a bit here, and then always you want most of the smoke down there, but that way you sort of create a sort of series of screens to make it hard for your opponents to see you and then shoot you. Plus, obviously, you can also just pass through the smoke yourself, which makes it even harder, and you can just sort of quickly get close in before they take too much damage, bypass most of the weapons, and then clear them out. Plus, of course, using the smoke tactically to also support your infantry. That's also very important, because while the tanks, of course, could get shot at, the infantry get suppressed, you can sort of get the two to work together. You can overall, do quite nicely there. Any artillery abilities that can be supported can also be a pretty good idea depending on the situation. Then again, you might, depending on what you're using to blow smoke, they not quite have enough munitions for any sort of call in artillery, but you can use that to further strike out at hard targets or whatever. That's pretty good. So let's watch one in execution here as it is being assembled. Got 3 EC8 Sherman tanks, got infantry sort of hanging about here, occupying a bit there, but there's other infantry moving up to support. Shall take a bit of a while here as we've got things sort of slowly moving up there, preparing. Jackson on the way. Oh, not Jackson, Jagdpanzer. And I might notice them sort of setting up the infantry here and there, basically setting up for the supporting elements of the assault, assembling the tanks. And the assault commences. Lead tank should be deploying smoke, or liaison tank, there we go. Again, I'm sort of fixing them down there, so we got the first screen down, like Kevin immediately gets taken out by a single hit, and now we got the infantry, some part of the following up, more smoke screens being laid down to just further obfuscate, and smoke going down on the Schwerpunted Quarter as well, further obfuscating, quickly bypassing the Pack 43. Clearing that out, infantry following up here as well. And of course, because the smoke has pretty much essentially suppressed the Schwerpunted Quarters, my infantry can safely move in here, and in fact even downright steal the Pack 43. Obviously we've got some traffic issues that sort of got a bit bunched up there. Obviously that's also something you have to be mindful of, how if your tanks get bunched up, you can quickly slow down the assault and cost it. We're quickly wiping out another cannon again. Forgot about the infantry on the other side of it. Oh, there we go, got it following up there. Tanks going straight for the Jagdpanzer. That was an unexpected element, but overall doesn't work out too badly. In this case, I steal the Pack 43 and turn it on the Schwerpanzer Quarters. But as you might notice, overall I've lost a single tank. I've destroyed several Raketenwerfers, Jagdpanzer, light infantry gun, stolen a pack for defeat, turned it against my opponent's fair-punted court victim on the process of destroying, being flanked here by Sturm Pioneers, but overall they've also taken a lot of damage. MD-34 moving in support, but overall I have destroyed an awful lot of my opponent's things while suffering negligible losses in the process, comparatively. Lastly, an overall well-executed armoured assault is a very, dangerous thing for your opponent. Had you had mines to the zone, that could have made things much difficult for them. Obviously, you kind of want mines to support your advancing tanks, or at least have something checked out for mines beforehand. But again, smoke, very important tool. A very good tool overall, and of course, the importance of infantry supporting your armoured assault. Again, the infantry just allowed me to quickly clear out a lot of supporting elements. In this case, also seize them and turn them against my opponent. Further, that way, enhancing my assault. So hopefully this has been a nice little video there, highlighting the utility and power of a good armoured assault, and of course also the elements required to really make it work out. Again, you want at least 2 to 3 tanks, preferably 3. Generally medium tanks, they've got the best speed. They're also more designed for just punching through, getting the work done. Of course, you can do it with a heavy tank and maybe a medium tank or something like that. Smoke to overall suppress, in a sense, the opponent's defenses, meaning the tanks can get closer without taking too much damage, and infantry to follow up and clear up the defenses and anything that might, halt, deal with your tanks. And the artillery can otherwise further support with, of course, is also pretty good. And obviously also having a clear idea where you want to strike and what you want to destroy as all the primary targets. Overall prioritization should go towards, I think, anti-tank weapons, as once they're bypassed, they can usually be cleared out quickly and sort of deal with things, in solid sense of priority like that. If you can do that, you should overall have, a fairly good chance of just destroying whatever you want to destroy using the power of combined arms. So hopefully this video has proven, quite helpful for you, enlightening. If it has, subscribe, like, share, and comment on it. And of course, share the word so more people can learn about the power of good, proper combined arms. And of course, just using smoke, because smoke really can do a lot. They're just supporting your assaults much more efficiently. So again, hope you liked it. And of course, a big thanks to all my Patreon supporters, without this episode would certainly not have been possible. So thank you all, and see you all for another Propagandacast Lehr sometime in the future. Cheers.